Have you ever wondered how a book written over 2,700 years ago could describe, in shocking detail, events that would not happen until centuries later? How could a man living in the ruins of ancient Judah foresee the birth of a virgin-born child, the brutal execution of a sinless servant, and the impossible promise of life beyond death? Why would a prophet, mocked by his people, rejected by his family, and largely ignored in his time, write words that would one day shake the world and point directly to the heart of the Christian gospel? This is not the story of a theologian reflecting on the past. It is the story of a man swept into the very throne room of God, commissioned to speak truths the world was not ready to hear. His name is Isaiah. His writings, preserved in the book of Isaiah, remain one of the most astonishing revelations in all of history. But behind the prophetic poetry and the haunting visions lies a soul trembling before the divine. A man who wrestled with doubt, pain, rejection, and ultimately a revelation so grand it would outlive empires. The backdrop was chaos. The king was dead. King Uzziah, who had reigned for 52 years, had passed, and with him, a sense of national security and pride. Jerusalem, once steady and prosperous, had fallen into a state of spiritual decay. The people had turned from the God of their fathers. Nobles exploited the poor. Priests chased their own ambitions. Fear crept through the city like smoke. The threat of Assyria loomed at the borders, and within the temple walls, corruption lingered. Isaiah was a young priest of noble lineage. Raised among the rituals and traditions of temple life, he had long heard stories of God's majesty, of the Red Sea parting, of manna from heaven, and of the covenant made with Abraham. But now everything seemed hollow. The chants had lost their meaning. The prayers felt unanswered. Something inside him knew the rituals were not enough. Something was wrong. One day, Isaiah entered the temple as he had many times before. But what he experienced there was unlike anything he, or perhaps any man, had ever known. The heavens tore open. The air shifted. A throne appeared, high and lifted up, its majesty so intense that Isaiah could not look directly at it. Surrounding it were celestial beings, seraphim with 6 wings, their voices thundering, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory." The temple shook. Smoke filled the air. The ground beneath him quaked. Isaiah fell to the floor. All pretense vanished. He was undone, shattered before the holiness of God. "Woe is me," he cried. "I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell among a people of unclean lips. For my eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts." In that moment, Isaiah saw with terrifying clarity the gulf between God's holiness and human sinfulness. And he knew he did not deserve to live. But then, a seraph flew to him carrying a burning coal from the altar. The glowing ember touched Isaiah's lips, burning, cleansing, transforming. "Your guilt is taken away," the voice said. "Your sin is atoned for." Then came the question that would alter Isaiah's life forever. "Whom shall I send? And who will go for us?" Without hesitation, Isaiah answered, "Here I am, send me." But this was not a call to glory. It was a call to heartbreak, for God revealed to Isaiah that he would preach to a people who would not listen, speak to ears that were deaf, prophesy to eyes that were blind. "They will not see, they will not hear, they will not understand," the Lord said. Why then preach? Why speak if no one would respond? It was a question Isaiah wrestled with deeply. But obedience was not about results. It was about faithfulness. And so he began. He spoke boldly in the city square, in the courts of the kings, before priests and merchants. He declared that Judah had strayed, that judgment was coming, that their trust in foreign alliances and idols would not save them. Some called him mad. Others mocked him openly. Even his friend Jeremiah struggled to understand. But in the midst of all this rejection, Isaiah began to see something extraordinary. In the stillness of prayer, in the darkness of night, visions came. Visions not of destruction, but of a child. It began with a mystery. "Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel." The prophecy stirred confusion. A virgin? A child? Emmanuel? God with us? What did it mean? Isaiah didn't fully understand, but he believed what he had seen. And then came more. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Could it be? Could a child bring justice? Could an infant carry divinity? The people scoffed. We need soldiers, not songs. Another metaphor? They mocked. Still, Isaiah did not waver. The vision burned within him. And then came the most haunting revelation of all. He saw a man, not a warrior king, not a powerful conqueror, but a servant, humble, gentle, rejected, despised. He was beaten, spat upon, his beard torn, his back scourged. And yet he did not resist. Isaiah wept. "Who is this man?" he cried out. "Why must he suffer so?" Then came the voice. "Surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. Yet we esteemed him stricken, smitten by God, and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was upon him, and by his wounds we are healed." The weight of those words broke Isaiah. This man was not suffering for his own sin, but for the sins of others, for us. And yet the vision did not end with death. In a moment that defied logic, Isaiah saw the impossible, the servant alive. After all the agony, after the blood, the humiliation, the lifeless body laid in a tomb, he stood again, breathing, radiant. Isaiah trembled. After the anguish of his soul, he will see the light and be satisfied. He will see. He will live. He will carry the reward of his suffering. This was resurrection, and it came centuries before anyone had ever conceived of it. Isaiah wrote feverishly, hands trembling. He will prolong his days. The will of the Lord will prosper in his hand. He shall justify many. And then it all made sense. The child born of a virgin, the servant crushed, the Prince of Peace, the mighty God. They were one and the same. All the visions, all the words, all the tears. They pointed to one man, the Messiah, Jesus. Isaiah may not have known the name Jesus. He may not have understood crucifixion or Roman empires or the mechanics of resurrection. But he saw enough. He saw what mattered. He saw the heart of God, a heart willing to bleed, to die, and to rise again for a world that would not listen. And so today, the question is no longer just about Isaiah. It's about us. If he could proclaim with courage knowing no one would believe, what will we do with the truth now that we see it fulfilled? If Isaiah, rejected and alone, could stand firm in his calling, can we do the same? If he saw the Messiah from afar and believed, can we, who live in the light of the resurrection, live with even greater faith? The book of Isaiah is not just ancient scripture. It is a living testament, a prophetic map leading straight to the cross and beyond it to an empty tomb. It reminds us that God always speaks, and when he speaks, his words never fail. So rise, believe, proclaim, because the same God who called Isaiah is calling us today. Will you answer, "Here I am, send me"?